Hi there, my name's Caroline Larissey and I am Chief Executive of the National Hair and Beauty Federation. And if you don't know what the National Hair and Beauty Federation is, the National Hair and Beauty Federation is the largest trade organisation for the hair and beauty sector. We support businesses, that's what we do. We support business to be safe, legal and profitable. So today has been a massive day, it's been the budget. So I want to introduce my lovely colleague.
Hi, I'm Sam Silver. I'm Head of Policy and Public Affairs for the National Hair and Beauty Federation. And it's been my pleasure to watch the budget with Caroline today. Unfortunately, it's not been the greatest budget for us. Some positives, some negatives for the sector, but we're just hoping to run through it a little today.
Indeed, we've all been waited with bated breath as regards to what's actually in the budget, and you know, with all the budgets that come out, it's been a little bit disappointing on some of the things that we felt the government can do, you know, a little bit more for our sector. Particularly ourselves have been doing a lot of lobbying and a lot of work with the government to push forward, but Sam's a lot better than me about describing exactly, you know, what the budget means to our businesses out there.
We've been telling government of all the challenges that our members, whether they're butts or barbers, beauticians, whether they're running the business with employees or they're self-employed, all the challenges that they've been facing, particularly around costs, around taxation, and just the general challenge of doing day-to-day business. We've been emphasise to the government how they need to take real concrete action to help reduce costs of doing business, whether they're working on the south coast or right to the very top of Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland. We have had very positive meetings with ministers. Ministers do understand that there are real challenges, and we are fighting a real tough economic backdrop with government having many calls on its spending, many calls on its funding, and of course the Chancellor talking about how fairness is at the heart of this budget. Has this budget been fair to the hair and beauty sector? In a short answer, no. I'm afraid it hasn't been. We have seen some positive messages, some reforms to business rates, which I think will help, especially our smaller businesses that were having challenges with business rates. But conversely, well, on the other hand, we have seen the increase to both national minimum wage and national living wage, and with more than 50% of the hair and beauty sector on national minimum wage and national living wage, any increase in costs is going to have a massive impact on our businesses.
I think it's fair as well that in, you know, a lot of our evidence that we've been to in government, we've actually produced real tangible stories from our members of, you know, really what it is like on the shop floor and the challenges that businesses had. I think what we've got to say is, you know, different types of businesses in the sector are slightly different. So whether you're an employed-based salon or you're a hybrid or you're all self-employed, you know, based salons, costs and differences are changing. And what we would always say whenever there's a budget announcement is, don't panic. Don't, you know, we have got tools and resources on our website. We've got our Survive and Thrive materials on there. There is tangible steps of looking at, you know, changes of what you want to do in your businesses. Like Sam says, there is, you know, some changes that have been, you know, introduced with the budget. And again, one of the big things is, you know, the national living wage. And that's going to have a, you know, a massive effect on businesses out there. And it's one of the things that we know is a key driver for anybody who's got an employed-based salon.
Of course, and when we put our evidence to the Low Pay Commission, who are a body who ultimately make the decision and recommendation about what the new national minimum wage and national living wage is, we did highlight how for many salons they do want to pay more. They really do want to pay their staff as much as possible. But over the past year, and perhaps going back a number of years, as costs have risen, it's very hard for a business to increase prices as day-to-day the public don't have that much disposable income. So if they put their prices up, they risk losing business together. So it's a very difficult balancing act.
Absolutely. And I think what we have really, really highlighted is the value that hair and beauty businesses have on the high street. We don't just, be on the high street. We're actually propping up a lot of the high streets. And the fact is that we don't just provide a hair, a beauty or a nail service. We actually provide support for people's mental health and well-being and all those tangible things that we actually bring to the community. And we hope to facilitate communities as part of that. So it's all of that picture that we want to, reinforce on what the value is as part of our sector. But I think one of the biggest things as well was the announcement on apprenticeships. So apprenticeships, they said, there's going to be free funding for under 25s for small and medium businesses as part of that. Now, I think that needs a lot of unpacking.
Definitely. Small and medium businesses, that's a phrase that can encompass many different individuals, many different companies. So what we're going to do as NHBF is that we're going to go to government, we're going to go to the ministers. We're very fortunate Caroline has a brilliant relationship with ministers, particularly in the Department of Business and Trade, and we're going to try and understand what that actually means day to day for the hair and beauty sector. Then we as the NHBF can go out to you, whether that's through newsletters, through our campaigns, through videos such as this, and explain what that means, when the change will come, and how you can take advantage of the additional funding that may be available.
Absolutely. And, we have, put through, we've had skill surveys that, have gone out, we've gone various different information all about, looking at our sector and supporting our sector. What we've got to look at now is there's going to be an increase in the national wage for apprenticeships. That was one of the announcements, and that's quite a big impact on our sector because of that rate going up. And we also know that, there's not been a massive decline in apprenticeships, no matter what anybody says. There is a little bit of a decline in the apprenticeship, but there's not a massive decline, which is what's being put out there. But we need to be looking at, being able to do apprenticeship programs perhaps differently. And we need to be looking and working with employers within our sector and our members to make sure that we can deliver apprenticeships that are right for our sector, that support our sector, that actually have apprentices that can hit the decks for running from day one and actually contribute to the business, so it's not a drain on the business, that it's actually contribution. So there is, things that we are doing. I think one of the things that we are doing massively is our Respect Our Sector campaign.
Yeah, I mean, the Respect Our Sector campaign, we've launched approximately 2 months ago, and we've had most fantastic response, whether that's from yourselves as members, the wider sector itself, or individual members of Parliament and government who have come to us and talked to us, and they've told us that they have been contacted by a salon, by a business person in their constituency, and they'd love to know more about hair and beauty, that they've seen the resources that we've provided on our website, sent to them by the member, and they'd like to know a little bit more. I know everyone is really busy, and that sometimes it can seem difficult and seem, when you have so many calls in a time, to send that message to an MP when you fear you may not get anything back. But it really does make a difference. MPs, they are always happy to talk to the likes of myself and Caroline. But the people they want to hear from the most are those that are running business in their constituency, those that are employing people in their constituency, so they can understand how they can help them. Your MP is elected to help you and to make your life hopefully a little bit easier. We can all be cynical about politicians, but most politicians, they go to politics because they do genuinely want to help people. Problem is, they don't know how. They'll have their own experience, but unfortunately we don't have as many hair and beauty professionals in Parliament as I would love. So anything you can do to educate your local MP, your local government minister, please do. And we are there to support you. Whether you're a member of the NHBF or not, please do just contact me at Sam Silver, and I will be happy to talk you through how to talk to your MP, how to reach out to government, and all the different ways you can make a difference in lobbying for your sector.
And for me, I know people will say today that they're very disappointed in the budget. There's some of the big questions that weren't answered, some of the big asks weren't, delivered as part of this. We've got big challenges, increasing in the national living wage, that side of things. There's a lot that small businesses are taking, and we know that it's a challenging situation at the moment. We've got tools and resources. Please, if you're not an NHBF member, become a friend of the NHBF. We've got loads of information. You just get some of this stuff that's coming through, some of the information that we've shared with you today. And as we unpick that information, we'll be providing you a lot more support as part of that. We've got checklists on our website. So, if you've got employees in your business that are self-employed and you're wanting to make sure, because one of the things that did come through, wasn't it, about that increased scrutiny from HMRC on businesses. So that's something that we're really going to focus on and support the sector as part of that. For me, we've got the Respect campaign, we've got, Survive and Thrive materials and resources, and we've got your backs. And I think that's the thing we can say.
So I think I just encourage members to just have a quick look online. You'll see policy updates each week, which are written by myself, Caroline, and members of the NHBF team. It gives you a quick update on what's happening in and around Westminster or the other parliaments in the UK. And if you have any questions, we're more than happy to answer them. The budget is such a massive document, such Absolutely. a massive speech. We've got our initial views going out today, Absolutely. But over the coming weeks and months, we're going to be digging deep into every part of the budget to understand what it means for you, means for your business, and hopefully we'll be able to advise you on what's coming down the line. And we can also share with you our plans to fight for the sector and fight for you as members.
Absolutely. And watch this space. We're here for our members and we're here for you. And we totally appreciate that, the budget didn't deliver what we wanted today. We share your frustrations, but we will continue campaigning and continue having your back.